Good evening. Calls for support. President Maithripala Sirisena requests Prime Minister to help strengthen his quest to bring culprits of the bond scam to justice. The economic agenda. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says development program focused on uplifting rural economy. Up for debate. Parliament to receive report of bond inquiry. Party leaders decide date for parliamentary debate. A historic deal. Singaporean Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong arrives in Sri Lanka for a 3-day official visit. And 24th SAG Awards. 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri wins Best Picture at the Screen Actors Guild Awards. Thank you for joining us, everyone. This is First at 9 and I'm Mahesh Johnny. Let's begin our broadcast with our lead story. Postal voting for the local government election commenced today in all districts, with public sector employees exercising their franchise. The Election Commission said it had accepted around 560,000 applications for postal voting.
Speaking to First at 9, Additional Election Commissioner M.M. Mohammed said that election supervising officers, police officers, district secretariat officers, as well as the 25 Election Commission officials cast their postal votes during the day. The Additional Elections Commissioner also said that the voting process was conducted in a peaceful manner during the day. Meanwhile, postal voting for employees at other government institutions, including education officers, Sri Lanka Transport Board officers, and for police and security forces personnel participating in election-related duties, will be held on the 25th and 26th of this month. Meanwhile, executive directors of the election monitoring bodies, PAFREL and CAFE, spoke to First at 9 on the voting process during the day.
We have seen very peaceful postal election day today. No major incidents of election violence or the election law violence were reported during the day. Hopefully, we think that the same pattern will be continuous for the next postal voting days.
Today, the postal voting took place on the police stations as well as the district secretariat. We have deployed around 450 observers throughout the country, and we did not get any single case related to the postal voting. So we can conclude today the postal voting went in a peaceful manner. 25th and 26th, we will deploy our observers on those 2 days also. We have planned to deploy around 1,000 observers. We trust that the postal voting, even those 2 days, will be in a smooth manner.
President Maithripala Sirisena requests the Prime Minister to strengthen him in his quest to enforce the law against individuals found responsible for misappropriating the central bank bond issuance. He made this remark participating at a rally organised by the Sri Lanka Freedom Party in Kandy today.
The United People's Freedom Alliance, led by the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, organised a rally in Kandy today ahead of the local government election. The rally was held under the patronage of SLFP Chairman President Maithripala Sirisena.
We are engaged in this election battle to share with the people the power that the party and the president has. It is pointless criticizing the opposition. They are useless. This election is the foundation to build a government of our own by the year 2020. Mahinda Rajapaksa continuously speaks about the bond commission. You know that the opposition brought a no-confidence motion against Ravi Karunanayake. Did Mahinda Rajapaksa vote in favour of the no-confidence motion? He did not. After Ravi came out of the parliament, Mahinda Rajapaksa contacted him via telephone and congratulated him. I speak with evidence. Supreme Court justices say in the report of the bond inquiry that a bond scam did not occur only during the period from 2015 to 2016, but that it also dates back to 2008. Hence, the Bond Commission recommended a forensic audit. I clearly expressed to the Honourable Prime Minister that the first step that should be taken against those involved in the bond scam is to jail them. Honourable Prime Minister, jail those who should be jailed. Do not hesitate to do so. Give me the strength to do so. Don't weaken me. I request both the governing party and the opposition to give strength to me in this quest.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says that the government's main aim of improving the economy since 2015 was to provide development to the rural areas. He made this remark addressing a United National Party rally held at Millennia in Kaluthara today.
The United National Party held a rally in Kaluthara today ahead of the local government election. The rally was held under the auspices of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe.
If the United National Party did not have a proper economic program, our economy would have hit rock bottom. Some say that due to the economic program introduced by the UNP, the country has taken a step back. If there was a setback at all due to the economic program implemented during the past 2 years, it is in fact due to the cunning SLFP MPs and ministers. Following the presidential election, we took over this government to fulfill our promise of developing the country, provide job opportunities and increase income levels. The international community and even the country did not believe we will be able to do so. They thought the government will turn unsuccessful. Since 2015, our aim of developing the economy was through the strengthening of rural areas. We have increased income levels. We were even criticized for increasing VAT. But that only led to the government revenue being increased and our economy being properly managed. The IMF, experts and economists are amazed because after 60 years, we were able to create a surplus in the primary balance of the fiscal account. For the first time, we received investments worth $1.5 billion. But I am still not satisfied. We need to make this $3 billion.
More on the election. The JVP claims that both the United National Party and the Sri Lanka Freedom Party have proven their incapability of developing the country. Addressing the gathering at a rally in Badula today, General Secretary of the party, Tilvin Silva, said that the JVP is the only party that has the ability of developing the village.
The JVP organised a rally in Badula today ahead of the local government election. The rally themed Energy Against Corruption saw the participation of JVP politicians representing the Badula district.
What does the UNP who ruled for 3 years say? They say they want to build the village. Before building the village, they should build the country. How will they build the village when they fail to build the country? They became the reason behind the collapse of the country. They stole from the central bank and now they are seeking votes to build the village. And then the SLFP. Will they win? And how would they? The party has separated in such manner that they are seeking votes to spread unity. How would they even think of uniting a village when they themselves lack unity? From the 4 main parties contesting the election, only the JVP can win the trust of the people and has a vision to build the village.
Meanwhile, speaking at a rally in Galle yesterday, the leader of JVP, Anurakumara Dissanayake, had this to say.
The biggest challenge the current government is facing today is the fraud that took place with regard to bond issuances. This happened on the 27th of February 2015, when the government was less than 50 days in power. Ranil Wickremesinghe addressed the nation recently, stating that they were going to catch the thieves. They are addressing the nation to hide thieves. You normally address the nation to inform the people of an important message. Today we address the nation to protect thieves and to hide the theft. Today we are like a country that has been taken hostage by Somali pirates. It feels like for 70 years our country has been under a group of pirates. If you see how much of this illegal activity has gone unnoticed, even the fact that the general public knows about it has gone unnoticed. I'm inviting all of you to begin fighting against these corrupt politicians that are ruining our country.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa says the government is facing a debt trap that they created themselves. He made this remark speaking to reporters last evening following a Sri Lanka Podujana Perumana meeting held in Kurunegala to garner support ahead of the local government election.
This is my stance. Look at the ministries under his purview. The Ministry of Defence, for example. Look at the issues our war heroes are facing so far. Look at the problems caused to war heroes by the international community. They do not grant them visa to America and Europe. Just like he got down the consignment of rice, he could clear all those restrictions too, can't he? Look at our debt stock. We have to pay $4 billion next year. 80% of those loans are commercial loans. They only have to settle 20% of the loans we took. There is no issue in taking loans. The UNP will not be able to pay this, neither can the entire government. This is the problem.
Deputy Speaker Thilanga Sumutipala today said that the report produced by the Commission of Inquiry that investigated into central bank bond issuance and the report of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry that investigated and inquired into serious acts of fraud, corruption and abuse of power, state resources and privileges will be tabled in Parliament tomorrow. The decision has been reached during a party leaders' meeting chaired by Speaker Karu Jayasuriya. Speaking to reporters following the meeting, parliamentarian Dinesh Gunawardena meanwhile said that debate on the bond report is to be held on Wednesday.
A special party leaders meeting chaired by Speaker Karu Jayasuriya was held at the parliamentary complex at 9:30 this morning to discuss and decide on forward action pertaining to the report of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry into central bank bond issuances.
The bond report by the Commission of Inquiry and Presifac will be tabled in Parliament tomorrow. A date for the debate can be decided once the reports are received by the Parliament. We spoke about the shortcomings in the bond report with the Speaker. We asked for a special debate and the party leaders decided to schedule the debate for day after tomorrow.
The 58 protesters who were arrested yesterday during a violent protest in Kathragama following the incident where a police officer gunned down a motorist were released on bail today. As protests aggravated, the police special task force was deployed from yesterday to beef up security in and around the Kathragama police station. Meanwhile, the officer of the police media spokesperson said that the unrest situation is brought under control. Police special task force teams are still deployed in the area.
Police officials attached to the Kathragama police station gunned down a motorcyclist who disregarded an order to stop for an inspection day before yesterday. The incident sparked violent protests in the area while the policeman connected to the shooting was arrested and remanded until the 30th of this month. Meanwhile, the police special task force arrested 58 individuals, including 13 women, for unruly behaviour during violent protests that ensued. The Kathragama police station was vandalized by angry mobs yesterday. After being presented before the Tissamaharama Magistrate Court, those arrested were later released on surety bail of 200,000 rupees each and bail conditions. A woman who was assaulted by police during protests is being treated at the Kathragama District Hospital.
They beat me even when I was on the ground. They even stepped on me. But they didn't raise a hand when we were remanded. They were going to send me to hospital when the court ordered to release us on bail. That's when the police told the rest of us that they won't release us on bail if I were to be admitted to hospital. They told us we'd be remanded for another 3 months. I pleaded with the woman police constable to release the 13 of us, saying I wouldn't get admitted to hospital. I even signed a document saying I wouldn't.
Meanwhile, the pillion rider has been admitted to the district hospital in Kathragama due to minor injuries.
I could have brought my friend to hospital while he was alive. He was still alive when I held him the first time, and he passed away when I held him for the second time.
Meanwhile, the mother of the deceased motorcyclist was seen weeping on the location where the incident took place. Venerable Batramulla Sila Ratanathera offered to console her, after which she left the location. The funeral of the deceased will take place tomorrow.
Parents of the Tamil Girls Mahavidyalayam in Badula launched a protest demanding to immediately implement the law against Chief Minister of Uba Province Chamara Sampath Dasanaika for allegedly forcing the principal of their school to kneel before him. With that story, we have more news from across the country.
Parents of Tamil Girls Mahavidyalayam marched towards the Uva Provincial Council wearing black armbands in protest over the alleged incident where the principal of the school was made to kneel before the Uva chief minister. Riot police was deployed to provide security to the Uva Provincial Council. The parents marched to the office of Governor of Uva Province and handed him an epistle requesting to implement the law against Chief Minister of Uva Province, Chamara Sampath Dasanaika. The Supreme Court today postponed the contempt of court case against Deputy Minister Ranjan Ramanaika until the 23rd of March, when it was taken up for hearing today. A three-member panel of judges ordered to distribute a written copy of the Deputy Minister's statement criticizing the judiciary to all judges of the Supreme Court for reference. Department for Registration of Persons announced that the circular to issue national identity cards for students who are to sit for the GCE Ordinary Level examination will be issued within this week. Commissioner General Vyana Gunathilaka called respective principals to follow the guidelines in the circular and return duly filled application forms to the department before the 31st of March.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Derana 24/7.
Welcome back everyone. In one of our headline stories, making the first visit of a Singaporean leader in 13 years, Singaporean Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong arrived in Sri Lanka on a 3-day official visit upon an invitation extended by President Maithripala Sirisena. Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong, accompanied by a 35-member delegation, was welcomed by his Sri Lankan counterpart Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe at the Bandaranaike International Airport this evening. The Singaporean Premier will be received at the Presidential Secretariat tomorrow morning with an official guard of honour. Later, the two leaders are scheduled to hold bilateral talks, followed with the signing of the proposed free trade agreement between Sri Lanka and Singapore. On to business news now. The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation has decided to ban the distribution of Lanka kerosene oil to vehicles, factories, bowsers and barrels used for wholesale distributions from today. Speaking to First at 9, Chairman of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, Dhammika Ranatunga, said that this decision comes following reports of malpractices by numerous gas stations to increase profit margins.
We have received numerous complaints about diesel being contaminated and mixing diesel with kerosene. Buying kerosene at a concessionary price is very beneficial to the parties who are doing it. However, the reason why we are giving kerosene at a subsidized price is to help the low income and also the fisheries community. Other parties using it in an illegal manner has to be stopped, and we have taken certain precautions to stop these people mixing diesel with kerosene. We have identified about 200 plus gas stations who have increased their diesel supply over 50%. These gas stations are not situated in areas where the fisheries community is. So we see unusual pattern and unusual business models.
Let's take you to the stock market now. The Colombo equity market began the week on a negative note as a result of price declines in Hemas Holdings, Lanka Oryx Leasing and Hatton National Bank. The ASPI declined 22.10 to close at 6,421.40, while the S&P SL20 closed at 3,717.07, down 18.41. Market turnover dropped to 461 million rupees. Meanwhile, foreign investors ended the day on the buying side with net inflow of 196 million rupees. With that, here is a look at the exchange rates. Let's move on to international news now. South Korean President Moon Jae-in said today that a thaw in relations between the two Koreas ahead of next month's Winter Olympic presented a precious chance for the United States and North Korea to discuss the North's weapons program. After a year of mounting tension, diplomacy focused on sports enabled the International Olympic Committee to announce day before yesterday that reclusive North Korea will send 22 athletes to the Games, which is to be held from the 9th to the 25th of February.
While a recent opinion poll showed most South Koreans welcome the North's participation in the Games, conservative opponents staged a small but noisy rally as a North Korean delegation inspected venues in Seoul for cultural events to be held on the sidelines of the Olympics. A North Korean delegation arrived at the Seoul train station earlier today to inspect performance venues on the second day of their visit to the South in preparation for art performances at the Pyeongchang Olympics. The delegation, led by Hyung Sung-wol, head of North Korea's Samjung Orchestra, visited several art venues including Jongchung Arena National Theatre of Korea and returned to the north later on in the day. About 50 protesters rallied against the visit in front of the train station and burned a banner bearing photographs of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. South Korean President Moon Jae-in's administration was also under pressure over the plan to send athletes to a North Korean ski resort for joint training for a combined ice hockey team, which experts say risks giving Kim's regime legitimacy and some much-needed cash.
Well, a U.S. government shutdown entered its third day today as Senate negotiators failed to reach a deal yesterday on demands by Democrats for legislation protecting dreamers. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell also offered an olive branch to Democrats when he is pledged in remarks on the Senate floor to bring immigration legislation to a floor debate during early February if the issue had not been dealt with by then.
It would be my intention to resolve these issues as quickly as possible. It would be my intention to proceed to legislation that would address DACA, border security, and related issues.
Funding for federal agencies ran out at midnight on Friday, and it was not renewed amid a dispute between President Donald Trump and Democrats over the politically acrimonious issue of immigration. Refusing to support another short-term government funding extension last week, Democrats demanded that the Republican president live up to an earlier agreement to protect undocumented migrants brought into the United States as children, referred to as dreamers, from deportation. The failure to agree on a deal means many federal employees will be furloughed or on unpaid leave until the stalemate is resolved. On Saturday, U.S. President Donald Trump threatened Democrats with a nuclear option, saying senators should move to a simple majority to end the impasse.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Derana 24/7.
On to sports now. Injuries continue to weaken the Sri Lankan side as Kusal Janit Pereira was ruled out of the Tri-Nation One-Day International Series in Dhaka after suffering a side strain during his innings of 49 in Sri Lanka's match against Zimbabwe yesterday. Dhananjaya De Silva has been roped into the team to replace Kusal Janit Pereira. Meanwhile, limited overs captain Angelo Matthews returned to Sri Lanka due to an injury. Matthews' participation in the rest of the tour, which includes a test series against Bangladesh, is still in question. On to the Australian Open. Some big names of the tennis arena, including Rafael Nadal, Grigor Dimitrov and Caroline Wozniacki, safely navigated their way to the quarterfinals, defeating their respective opponents yesterday.
The Australian Open yesterday. Bulgarian Grigor Dimitrov kept his cool in the Rod Laver Arena to knock home favourite Nick Kyrgios out 7-6, 7-6, 4-6, 7-6 yesterday in a fourth-round thriller. Second seed Caroline Wozniacki booked a quarter-final spot at the Australian Open as she thrashed Slovakia's Magdalena Rybarikova 6-3, 6-0 yesterday.
A bit of showbiz news now as we navigate through the awards season, and another big one took place last night at the Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles. It was time for the 25th Screen Actors Guild Awards. The show began as it traditionally does, with actors discussing how they became actors. But this year there was a twist. Only women spoke. It was further evidence that Me Too and Time's Up movements will remain a central focus of Hollywood's awards season. Women took center stage at the ceremony, with the SAG Awards featuring its first ever host, Kristen Bell, and all-female presenters.
When I was a little girl, I dreamt of growing up and being a courageous woman who could use my voice for important issues that affect all of us, and to have a lot of shoes. Well, I am happy to report that both are true. I utilize my agency and my voice for equity and justice in our industry and beyond, and I have so many shoes. Okay, like I have a lot of shoes. I am Tracy Ellis Ross, and I'm an actor.
Kristen Bell opened the 2018 SAG Awards with a monologue talking about how she was the first host ever for the SAG Awards.
I think my first initiative as First Lady will be cyberbullying, because I have yet to see any progress made on that problem quite yet. And I'm looking at you, Tony Hale.
Leading the main category awards, Allison Janney won the SAG Awards for her role in I, Tonya.
Allison Janney.
This is the 7th win for Allison Janney.
Laura Linney presented outstanding performance by a male actor in a supporting role, which went to Sam Rockwell for his role in 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Sam Rockwell.
And I stand shoulder to shoulder with you and all the incredible women in this room for trying to make things better.
In the television category, Nicole Kidman and Alexander Skarsgård both won the top prizes for their roles in Big Little Lies.
Alexander Skarsgård. Big Little Lies.
Thank you very much for this. I'm incredibly embarrassed and infinitely grateful. Thank you so much for this.
Nicole Kidman.
Woo!
10-time nominee Nicole Kidman celebrates her first win tonight.
To receive this at this stage of my life is extraordinary, and at this time in the industry when these things are going on, and for this role.
Later on, the top prizes for cinematic roles were handed out. The first went to Gary Oldman for his role in Darkest Hour, while Frances McDermott won the Best Actress for her role in 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Gary Oldman for The Darkest Hour.
I will just say this, that Churchill reminds us we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give.
Frances McDormand. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
This is really great, and I thank you. I come out of the woods every few years, and you invite me to the party. But there's a lot of young ones coming up, and they need doorstops too. Let's think about that. Bye.
Later on, the same movie won the Best Picture for the year.
3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Morgan Freeman.
Wrapping up the ceremony, the Lifetime Achievement Award was given out to actor Morgan Freeman.
I'm going to tell you what's wrong with this statue. It works from the back. From the front, it's gender specific. Maybe I started something.
You want some help, dear? You have no idea how heavy these suckers are. You ready?
Yes, baby.
Well, Kathrina Chang is at the other Derana Weather Centre with your forecast first evening edition.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
A very good evening and welcome to Forecast First. Now, temperatures are to vary between 19 and 30 degrees Celsius over the next 24 hours, with a low pressure zone in formation in the southeast region of the island, which would bring about some wet weather in the areas of Trincomalee and Patticlo. Moving upwards, you can expect some sunny weather in the Jaffna area. Some wet weather also is expected in the Hambantota area, while some favourable weather conditions in the Colombo, Galle and Kandy cities. That is it from your weather centre tonight. It's now time to take a look at your city by city forecast.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
And that is a part of your world tonight right here on Other Derana 24/7. I'm Mahesh Johnny. First at 9 will return tomorrow at the same time. Be sure to join us then. And before we wrap things up for tonight, we are going to take you back to Los Angeles and to the Screen Actors Guild Awards, where the actors hit the red carpet ahead of the show. Enjoy and good night.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.